Hi there and welcome to my channel. My name is Madeline and I am a blogger. I have been a blogger for nearly 8 years now. I had a hobby blog for the longest time and I actually couldn't figure out for the longest time how to grow it and make it a full-time income because that was my dream. So it wasn't until I think about 2 years ago that I finally found something that worked, and I have been a full-time blogger ever since. So on this channel I want to share with you exactly what worked, a lot of tips that I have learned along the way, and help you grow your own blog as well, because it's very doable. It's actually much easier than you would think. Like, it's a lot of hard work, but it's not that hard. So as long as you put in the effort, you will get there as well. So let's go ahead and get started today with how to start your successful blog, because a good base for your blog is actually quite important. So I'm going to give you my 6 founding steps for starting a successful blog. Before we get into the tips, I wanted to answer a question that I actually get a lot on my blog. A lot of people, when they are just starting out, they are asking, especially these days, if it's too late to start a blog, if blogging is dead in 2021, and let me tell you, it is not. I think a lot of people have this misconception that blogs are, you know, kind of old school and not a lot of people read them anymore, which is so far from the truth. And if you think that too, then you are definitely missing out, and you do need a blog to help you start a successful online business. It's much more reliable than any other social platform out there, it's even more so than YouTube or Instagram or any other platform that you use. So I would highly recommend you start a blog, and it's definitely not that. I think it's much easier to drive traffic to your blog than it is to your YouTube channel or to your Instagram page. So yeah, let's go ahead and get started with the 6 steps that will help you get a successful blog. Number 1 is laying the foundation. So what I mean by this is you need to have a niche figured out. And a lot of my students in my blogging course as well kind of get stuck on this point of kind of figuring out what they want to write about, what they're good at. A lot of people feel like, well, I'm not an expert, so I'm not sure what I can write on my blog. And you do not need to be an expert. You do not need to have your niche like fully figured out when you're starting out. I would say try to figure out 3 topics that you are super passionate about. Something that you could, you know, talk about for hours, something that you're really passionate about. And when we sit down to think about our niche and the topics we are interested in, I feel like a lot of times our brains kind of get flooded with ideas, because as human beings, we have lots of interests, don't we? Like, you know, we are moms, I am a mom, we are moms, or we have this passion, we like cooking, we like decorating our homes, we just like a whole bunch of things. But the thing is, your blog doesn't have to reflect all of them. So you can pick just a few that kind of relate to each other and write on those. So the more specific that you are, the easier it will be for you to grow. And for example, you can also niche down not only by topics, but also by the audience that you are trying to reach. For example, because I am a mom, a lot of my audience is moms as well on my blog and my other YouTube channel as well. So you can also niche down by that. But having 3 specific topics that you write on will be super helpful. Once you've figured out your topics, try to brainstorm about 20 to 30 ideas, I would say. And you can do this if you can't kind of come up with ideas on your own. Maybe go on Pinterest and see what inspires you there, what other people are writing in your niche or on your topics. See if there's something you can put your own spin on, and that's a really good place for inspiration as well. So try to brainstorm a few ideas, because when you do this, it will help you figure out if you have anything to write on that topic. If you feel like, oh, there's not so much I can write about on this, then maybe switch the topic and try something else. So that's number 1 for laying your foundation. Now, number 2 is setting up your blog. So what you need for this is 2 things. You need hosting and domain. Now, I know this might get a bit technical, so bear with me, but it's actually quite easy to do. So hosting is basically the place that hosts your blog, or all your blog posts, your pages, everything like that. It's the platform that holds all of them. And then the domain is your blog name. So for example, my blog name is cappuccinoandfashion.com. So that's your domain. And I always recommend my students start with WordPress hosting. That's the absolute best. Actually, all of the successful bloggers that I know and that I have seen have a WordPress hosting. Now, when you can get WordPress hosting for quite cheap these days, and I'm going to show you how to do that. So let's get into the step by step, and I'm going to share my screen so that you can see what I'm doing and on exactly how to get your hosting and domain really easily and really inexpensive as well. let's get into it. Right guys, how exciting, we are going to start your blog today. I'm going to walk you through all of the steps that you need to take. It's super easy, it's much easier than you probably imagine. So let's go ahead and get started. I recommend starting with Bluehost because it's really inexpensive, and when you're just starting out you really don't need anything fancy. And then as your blog grows, obviously you will outgrow programs like this, but you will be able to just, you know, switch to something more high-end when you feel the need. Before we get into that, if you guys want to use my affiliate code, it's this one right here, bluehost.com/track/Madeline. That really helps me out and supports me to create more courses like this for you. So what I recommend starting is on Bluehost, you go to WordPress and then WordPress hosting. That's really the best way to start your blog these days. And then once you are here, you can scroll all the way down and see the packages that they have here. I highly recommend going with the basic one because you really do not need a lot of fancy bells and whistles when you're just starting out. And this will give you one website. You get an SSL certificate, which means your website is secure. It makes it look more trustworthy in front of your readers' eyes and in front of Google. It really matters for SEO. And what it means is it gives you this little lock icon right here, so that shows your website is secure, and then you get free domain for 1 year and a few other extras. So let's go ahead and select this package. Right, once we are here, we can set up your domain, and if you do not have a name in mind yet, do not worry, you can still start your blog today. You can actually think about it, you know, maybe you haven't figured out your niche yet. I would actually recommend going with something more generic for your name, so not too specific, because you might end up changing your niche, as I have as well. So yeah, I would recommend going with something slightly more generic so that you can adjust in time without changing your domain. And the one thing that Google really likes is domains that are aged. So what I recommend is starting your domain today. Even if you are not ready to start your blog or launch or write anything, just get your domain today because it ages and it looks much better in Google's eyes. So if you're not ready to set up your domain here, you can just go and say, I'll create my domain later. And then here you can create your account. You can either sign in with Google or you can just fill in all of your details. So I will go ahead and do that in a second, but obviously for privacy reasons, I'm not going to show that on here. So let's go to the package information. So for the basic package, you can select if you want it for a year or 2 or 3. Obviously, the more you get, the cheaper it is per month. So yeah, you can choose right here. And obviously my price is in pounds because I'm in the UK, but it's going to be dollars for you. But it's really, really inexpensive to start a website these days. And it's, you know, probably the cheapest way you can start a business these days. Like, starting a blog is really not expensive. And then over here to the package extras, I actually don't recommend getting these at first because you really do not need anything extra at the moment. In time, you will learn and see what else you need for your blog. So once you have selected your package here, you can go down, insert your payment information, and then you can agree to their terms and then click submit. So now that you have made the payment, you can go to create your account. And then here you can see your domain name. So this is going to look like this because you haven't set one. But once you pick your domain name, obviously this will look different. Okay, so now you can go ahead and create your password. And now you are ready to go to log in to your account. Now you can choose actually to get a little help along the way if you need for the setup. I'm just going to go with this one. So you can choose here what you want on your website. I'm going to choose blog. And then you can say how comfortable you are creating websites. And then just kind of fill in your type of website. I'm just going to say lifestyle for now. You can obviously change it further on down the line. So obviously if you haven't really thought about your niche yet, then you can just skip this step and then you can set it further down the line. So the theme is basically what your website will look like. What is highly recommended in the blogging world is the Astra theme because it's simple, it's responsive, and it's really fast. So it's really perfect for SEO for Google as well. So I recommend starting with that one. You do not need to pay for a premium theme when you are just starting out. Obviously, that's something you grow into further down the line. So I'll just select the Astra theme. And this is the background of Bluehost. And then when you're ready to create your domain, you go over here and then you can create it when you have a name in mind. But for now, let's go ahead and select login to WordPress, because that's basically the back end of your blog. So that's what you see when you start creating blog posts. Right, so here we are. This is WordPress. This is how it looks like when you start a blog. But if you have copied somewhere your domain, you can put it here, and then this is what your website looks like. So obviously there's nothing on there yet, but there will be. Okay, now that you have your blog all set up, let's move on to number 3, which is customize your blog. So this is where you come in to make it look all pretty. And what you need for this is a theme, which I also recommended for you to get the Astra theme in the previous tutorial. It's really fast. So it's really good for page speed for your blog, and no one likes a slow blog. Like if you go on a website and it takes forever to load, you're probably going to be out of there. And then 2 other things that you will want to do is install widgets and plugins. Now these are kind of similar, like they do similar things. And what plugins are, if you have no idea what I'm talking about, they are kind of like little apps on your blog that you download them, and they help you do different things, like kind of like the apps on your phone, but they're just for your blog. So they can help you put in like social icons or sharing buttons for your blog post, or things to pin your Pinterest images straight to Pinterest for your readers, things like that. So it can also be kind of behind the scenes that helps you grow your blog as well. If you want more tips on how to customize your theme and how to get started with all of this, then I will leave in the description down below a free course that I have on blogging. It's called Blogging Made Easy, and this will give you a really good startup with your blog. It gives you kind of like the basics, how to customize it, and you also get a free worksheet and some resources that you can print or download and use for your own blog. So I will link that free course down below. And now moving on to number 4 is branding your blog. So what I mean by this is, for example, your header at the top of your blog, which can be either just like your blog name, or maybe a cute font, or you can create a specific logo for your blog in something like Canva, which is completely free. It's a photo editor, so you can use that to create your blog logo or your header. I also recommend finding a few colors that you want to stick to. Now, obviously you can change these in time. I have changed mine a lot as well, although they're always kind of like the pinkish hues. But I do recommend sticking to a few brand colors, because if you use those on your blog, on your Pinterest graphics, on your social media profiles, these kind of help you stand out, and they help you become recognizable on different platforms. So they really do help. And then also for your blog, I recommend creating 2 main pages. One of them is your homepage. So this is something that when someone comes on your website, this is the main page that they will see. So it's like, for example, if you go to cappuccinoandfashion.com, this is the homepage that you will see. And it's different than the blog posts or the other pages. So creating a really good eye-catching homepage where you link to your main resources on your blog, or your main pages or your main blog posts, it's really helpful to kind of guide your readers on your blog when they first stumble on it. And then also you need an about page, where you can share a bit about you, kind of a bit about your story, how you are there to help your readers, and everything like that. Number 5 is writing content. And if you take one thing from this video, it's this: you need quality content if you want a successful blog. So everything else that I mentioned, like the branding and the colors and everything like that, it's kind of like extra, but your content is the main thing that's going to make it successful. So this is what I want you to focus on. Write quality content. Think about your readers. Think about solving a problem for your readers in your content, and that's going to drive traffic like crazy. That's what really helps, because people go to Pinterest or to Google search or to all of these platforms to find answers to their problems, to find inspiration, maybe to find recipes or whatever. So if you can provide a solution for them, for their problem, then you will do really well. Another thing about writing content, I recommend writing long form content. So this means over 1,000 words per blog post, because this is the way that you provide more value in your content, and this is what's going to make your readers stick as well. So long form content is definitely the way to go, and I would also say it's really important to stay consistent. I know it's not easy. Writing consistent quality content is definitely hard work, but it definitely pays off. So if you can stick to one blog post a week, then do that. Write one long form blog post every single week. If you can do 2 per week, that's even better. But I would say try not to cram too much into 1 week, because you will just get burnt out, and then you will have periods where you post 10 blog posts in 2 weeks, and then for the next 6 months you post nothing. So we don't want that. It's much better to be consistent 1 per week rather than having a huge break where you don't post anything. And then number 6 is getting blog traffic, which is probably the thing that people struggle with the most. And a few ways that you can do this is, one of them is through SEO, which is search engine optimization. So this is for Google search. If you can get your blog post to rank in Google search, you will get traffic from that, and it's really great stable traffic. So that's one way you can get blog traffic. The second way is through Pinterest, and Pinterest is something that I recommend people focus on in the beginning the most, because it's really easy to drive traffic through Pinterest as opposed to Google search. Like in Google search, it kind of takes you a while to build up that authority and to get more traction, but on Pinterest it's actually quite easy. If you have good quality pins, it's quite easy to go viral and get lots of traffic that way. Then you can also drive traffic through social media. So you can use your Instagram or your Facebook. Any social media platform that you use can be also used to drive traffic to your blog, as long as you kind of promote your content there as well. So for example, when you have a new blog post, you can go and announce it on social media and leave the link in your bio so that people can go and read it. And one thing I would say when you do share your content on social media is to think about the reader and try to kind of give them a reason to go to your blog and read your content, because it's something that provides value to them. So you need to kind of incentivize them and give them a reason why it would help them to read your blog post, because most people will not go to read your blog post just because. They will go to read your blog post if they can find a solution to their problem. So that's what I recommend, is trying to keep your reader in mind always. And there you have it. Now you have a good start for a successful blog. I do hope this helped you. Let me know in the comments below what other videos you would find helpful, what I can help you with maybe on your blogging journey. And give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. I would highly appreciate if you subscribed for more blogging tips, and I will see you in my next video. Bye guys!